another wee quick one. So sometimes you have this type of tuner that just decides to break on you. And it's an easy fix if you can get buttons. Now this button happens to be pulled off a old cheapy tuner, right? But you can buy buttons separately, whatever, and all that stuff, because I see people just replace tuners when this happens. Well, there's nothing wrong with the rest of the tuner. So you just get your soldering iron mega hot. Look at the direction of how this is knurled and the direction of the hole. So this is sitting at an angle that way, so I want to be putting it on this way. You just heat up the shaft. Look how much that went on just by touching it. Right, I'm going to stop there for now. I'm just going to grab the actual guitar. How far on is that? You can probably see it's a different colour, but for the sake of melting a bit of plastic, so that looks like it wants to come on just a little bit more. Not much, but just a little bit. It appears we're at the end of travel anyway, so and that needs to cool down a lot. So can I cool this down a wee bit? Yeah, it should be fine, it's just warm now. Right, and look at that. So yeah, you can see the colour difference there, but it's not bad, it's not awful. And like I say, for sacrificing an old cheap tuner that you had lying around just to get this one working again, you know, how can you complain at that? And I was going to say, yeah, and it saves you spending what, 20, 30, 50, £100 on a set of tuners just because you broke one button. So that's all I've got to say about that. Just very quickly want to talk about doing a partial fret level. Basically with this guitar, when you've played the 15th fret on the high E string and bent it up a full step, it buzzed off of this fret, and you can see here, well, I don't know how clearly you can see, I just passed it over a couple of times after straightening the neck out, and how much it's just taken off all the frets past this low one. So that tells me that these ones are high rather than this one being low, because that's the only note that really does it on. Even when you play the middle strings, it plays, but it's not super clean, so it's kind of an issue, but not much of an issue with those ones, but it does really show up. And I'm still using my big leveling beam because it's the only one I've got just now. I'm just gently going over. And I'll keep going until I actually get some material coming off of this fret. Okay, got some starting to come up, but not a lot. You always kind of want to go slowly, trying to keep in control. Sorry about that. Yeah, you can see it in the camera clearer than you can see it to me, to the naked eye I should say. It's starting to take some material off. I really want to get that one down. Hold on. Because you're probably thinking, why don't you just spot level that? But then there's also danger you could take that too low and this fret's high, and then you take that one down and this one's high, and then you end up chasing the problem instead of just tackling it in the most kind of overall way, if that makes sense. Like after doing this, I know that all these frets will be level to each other at the very least. So why chase a problem when I can do something that I know will at least has a good fighting chance of working at the very least. And all these frets are seated, so I couldn't find any that were sprouting or anything like that, so it's just a mismatch of fret height somewhere. And you wouldn't expect that on a modern Gibson because they're usually all plecked. I can't remember how old this is. I think it's early 2000s. I can't read numbers, so there's a bunch of threes. I'm going to say it's either 2003 or 2004. How does that look to the camera? Yeah, there's almost no panel left to the camera, but there is still like just little bits here and there on the very top of the crown. Right, so I'm going to call that good for the leveling, and I just need to recrown these and polish them up. I don't think I'll record that because you've seen me crown and polish frets a dozen times and all the cleanup, so I'll just pretty much cut to a plane after this. So that's what my process is. I listen to strings, take them out listen to strings, use a string spreader, this wee deal, to get them out of the way, straighten the neck out, tape off to where you're not going to be working, and so you're just working on the bad frets. So that's when they need to come down, and I taped off from the fret before to make sure that when I brought this down I would come down level with this, and that's all there is to it. So yeah. Okay, so I finished the leveling and that fret's still high. I checked it that I was seated properly and all that, but you can probably see I've got wax either side of it, and I'm going to glue it down just to see if it works at all. Yeah, that's a lot of glue. Oops. I bring it along so you can get some capillary action going. Oh shit, I've accidentally flooded it with super glue. Oops. Alright, where's the glue rag? You'll do. Like I say, I don't know. I don't have the best light to see what's happening with the glue right now. Just because I'm trying to catch on camera. So this is the basic process. make sure your area's clean, get some glue either side of the fret and it should get pulled under, and then hold it. I would use my fret press, but it's dead awkward around the Les Paul heel joints, and it's only the middle of the fret I'm trying to glue down just now anyway, so I don't mind holding it with a hammer for a few seconds. Make sure the top of the fret's clean. Typical, you put something down, forget where you are. There it is. So still a good bright tap, so it's not changed, but I can check it's still buzzing. Is it not? That's actually a lot better. So you can still hear kind of twangs, but before it would choke out when you got to there beforehand. That just goes to show, even though you think a fret's seated, even if it sounds right and all that, you always double check it. Just going to give that a little. Like I say, this is on my bench with a padding underneath it, so it's plenty of support to make sure it's going in right. Yeah, still good. Just get rid of all that excess super glue I accidentally put in there. Right, I think that's all I'm going to do in camera. I'm just going to scrape out, get the strings off again, scrape either side of the fret, and get it all properly cleaned.